Good evening. Tonight's lesson is going to continue with finding the circumference of any given circle. There are a few vocabulary terms I'd like to review before we begin. The first is a circle. It is a round figure whose perimeter consists of points equidistant from the center. The radius is a straight line from the center to the circumference of a circle, or the outside of a circle, which is right here. The diameter is a straight line from one side to the other, passing through the center. So it is right here. And today in class, we reviewed that one diameter equals 2 radii. Okay, and last but not least, we have the circumference. The circumference is the perimeter of a circle. In class, in our lesson, we discovered that if we take the circumference divided by the diameter, we get a number close to pi, the Greek letter, which represents 3.14 or 22/7. Now, these two numbers are approximate, which is why we have the squiggly equal sign. These are the values that we are going to use for pi when we are asked to do that. Now, in class, we started to figure out that the circumference formula is the value of pi times the diameter. And because we know that the diameter is 2 radii, we could also say pi times 2 radii, or 2 pi r. 2 times pi times r radius. Okay, so you will see c equals pi d, or c equals 2 pi r. You will see either one of those formulas. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. In this example, we are going to use 22/7 for the value of pi. Anytime we use a formula, we need to write the formula first and foremost. So c equals, and we're going to use the diameter c equals pi d. And the reason why we're going to use c equals pi d is because we are given the diameter. So we're going to go ahead and replace with what we know. We're going to use 22/7 for pi. And we're going to multiply the diameter, which is 21. And to make it easier, I'm going to put 21/1. Now, we can multiply these two fractions. We've done this before. Before we do that, we're going to simplify. We're going to cross cancel. The 7 can be reduced to 1, and the 21 can be reduced to 3. So when we go ahead and continue, 22 times 3 is going to give us 66. 1 times 1 is going to give us 1. So the circumference, or the approximate circumference, is 66 centimeters. Okay, now remember, we are not going to have to the first, to the second power, to the third power, because perimeter is distance, and remember, distance is the first, area is to the second, volume is to the third. So with circumference, we are dealing with distance. So we're going to go ahead on to an example number 2. Example number 2 says that we are going to use the approximate value, 3.14. Okay. Once again, we are going to use the circumference equals pi d. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause the video, try it out, and come on back. Okay, hopefully you pause the video. The first thing that we're going to do is always write the formula that we are going to use. And then we are going to replace. Circumference is 3.14 times the diameter, which is 91. Okay, if I go ahead, and at this point, I will allow you guys to use calculators. We're going to put in 3.14 times 91, and I get a circumference of 285.74. Make sure we put our units, feet. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to example number 3. This time we are given the radius. So we are going to use the other formula. We're not going to use circumference equals pi d. We're going to use circumference equals 2 pi r. Okay, now this problem says find the exact circumference. Okay. If we were to use 3.14 or 22/7, that's an approximation. And with pi, because it is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal, then the only way that we could have an exact measurement is if we use pi. Okay, so in this instance, because it's asking for the exact circumference, we are not going to replace pi with anything. We're going to leave it as pi. So we're going to go ahead, circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius. Radius is 14. I'm going to use the commutative property of multiplication to rearrange my numbers because I do have multiplication here. 2 times 14 times pi, and I know that 2 times 14 is 28. So we have 28 times pi. And once again, because we are asked for the exact circumference, we're going to leave the pi symbol in our answer. The last thing that we need to do is we need to label with our units. So our answer is 28 pi centimeters is the circumference. Okay, go ahead and move on to example number 4. I'd like you to try this out on your own. Pause the video, come on back. Okay, hopefully you paused the video. We're going to take a look. The first thing that we're going to use is we are going to use the formula. Circumference is 2 pi r. We're going to use that formula because we have the radius. In this example, we are going to use the approximation 3.14. So we're going to go ahead and plug in everything that we know. So 2 times 3.14, and I'm actually going to put these in parentheses to make it easier, times 14. All right, well, I do know that 2 times 14 is 28, and I can switch these around because of the commutative property. 28 times 3.14. Quickly go ahead and grab my calculator. 28 times 3.14. Our circumference is going to be approximately 87.92 centimeters. All right, go ahead and flip it over. All right, tonight what I would like you to do is I'd like you to try these 3 questions on your own. You're first going to use pi is approximately 3.14. Then you're going to use pi is approximately 22/7, and then your exact. Now you are finding the circumference of this circle right here. You're going to use this circle for all 3 questions. Be ready to discuss this in class tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.